Hello again. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Random Conversations. I'm Danielle.
And I'm Noel.
And we're here again with some new topics to discuss. We found it very interesting for us to share this with you. And you're the one that came up with all the topics today, so kudos to you. So if you guys like it, it's all him.
Exactly. I think y'all gonna love this episode.
Not me. Shut up. But I'm sorry. But the other topics that we also came up with, I did it for like the other episodes, but I'll give him his props. He found these three and I actually like it. So we're going to discuss it right now. So this topic that we're going to get into, people are having less sex. So the factors that go into it are social media, stress, boundaries that are being crossed, anxiety and depression, and also burnout. So all those factors culminate into why people, especially Gen Z and Millennials, are not having sex as the older generations thought that we would be having. I thought this was very interesting because as a female, I thought that I'm shocked that males are having less sex as well. I could see where females are like, we're not interested. We're not going to partake in the act because we don't feel like it. But males are heavy in this category as well. So I found it very interesting that they're there. But for females, I thought, this is nothing new. But for males, I'm like, wow, this statistic is very alarming. So as a male, how do you feel about that?
I mean, I'm not surprised. I mean, I look at Gen Z and they don't seem
they're not motivated.
They not seem like they're motivated to have sex. They seem like they're more interested in their phone and video games and things of that nature. So I already, once I saw the headline and I saw some of the statistics attached to the headline, I wasn't surprised. Like I said, social media was a big factor.
It was a big proponent as to why people are not having sex anymore. Because
they were saying, well, society in general is geared now to providing you with everything you want at your fingertips on your phone, right? Social media is constantly giving you instant gratification with the content that you're able to scroll and find. It's giving you these dopamine hits. So, you spending more time on your phone as opposed to going out, socializing with people. So if you're not going out and meeting new people, your chances of having sex are limited, right? And then they also discuss like the dating apps. And initially people thought that with the advent of dating apps that, people would be having more sex because it's just going to be so much easier to find and meet people. And once you match, people thought that once you match, you meet up with these people and then hookups would ensue, but that's not the case. A lot of the times people might match with like 20 people, but actually only meet up with like 2 people. And then get ghosted. Yeah, and get ghosted, maybe not hook up at all, right? They said something about like 85% of people that use dating apps get ghosted. And it was talking about the effects ghosting has on people. On
the psyche.
Yeah. So it's like you get ghosted and you 9 times out of 10, you don't know why you got ghosted. Sometimes you feel like, the conversation with the individual was going good, the vibes are good, and then all of a sudden,
boom, they're not there anymore.
Yeah, it just stops. And you don't know why. There's no closure. So you're just left to speculate.
What happened, yeah.
Yeah, and then so you start saying, was it me? Was I not handsome or pretty enough? Was I not interesting enough? So your self-esteem takes a ding.
And then the social media aspect to continue with that part. So a lot of people, they scroll and they see people that they find are more attractive than the actual partner they're dealing with. And that can also turn off the person who see these people on their apps and be like, man, I want somebody like her. Like, I don't even feel attracted to my significant other anymore because you have so much access to other people that you could just slide in their DMs and forget all about the person you're actually dealing with. And that in reverse could cause the person that you're dealing with to feel ashamed and insecure about themselves. Like, damn, my partner doesn't even want me. He or she sees all these people on Instagram. They're like, dang, I want this person. Why can't I look like this person? They start to morph themselves into the person that they feel like their partner's attracted to. So that's another thing.
Yeah, that's what they were saying. They were saying that, the thing with social media is that now you have people comparing themselves to millions of other people. and you're seeing what other people, what are getting the likes, what's getting the shares and the clicks and all that stuff, what's getting the activity. And it's a lot of the time it's the bodacious women with the big ass and big breasts and all that stuff. And a lot of women internalize that. They look at that and they be like, well, I don't have that. What would a man look at me and see as attractive? And that also dings their self-esteem.
Yeah, and it turns like your body shuts down to that person, and rejects that person, because in your mind, they don't like you the way they like other people. So I'm trying to be intimate with you, and it's not even the same, because I know in your brain you're not attracted to me. So your body starts to reject that person. And the other person, they're probably just doing it just because, it's something that they do. You're my significant other. But then they start to reject you as well. So it kind of, it's like a double-edged sword when it comes to that social media aspect of it.
I think another big part of it is pornography.
That too.
When I was growing up, you didn't have this, right? You didn't have.
What you have? VHS videotapes?
We had Spice Channel. My older viewers are gonna know what the hell I'm talking about. I had that cable box. You gotta flick the button in the back. Get the reception.
Hold on. They couldn't block those channels.
They blocked them channels. All them channels was available. You just had.
I thought there was parental blocks.
No, you just had to have the patience to freaking keep flicking the button in the back to get that sucker clear, or clear enough where you could make out something, right? But yeah, we didn't have like porn on tap like they have today, right? Now, it's ready and available for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And seeing that, it's knowing now that you could get it on your phone, you could basically sneak off anywhere and
get that fix.
Yeah, get that fix. Get that dopamine hit, right? And that has an adverse effect on people too, because now you have these expectations of women and having sex, and what you see in porn is not how real people normally have sex, right? So, and then also
it's very glamorized.
And then also for men, when you watch porn, it's totally self-gratifying, right? You're not worried about somebody else getting off. You're going at your speed, right? You're watching what you want to watch, So it's completely a selfish act, and it's just about you getting off, right? So, a lot of men choose to do that as opposed to dealing with a real life woman where you have to make sure that she gets hers before you get yours, and you have to worry about your performance and all this stuff. All that could be a factor as to why they don't want to have sex with women anymore. They don't want to deal with that. I definitely feel like that's a factor too, So I think social media, the way society is set up now. Basically, social media is the downfall of everything. Well, I think social media has very good qualities. It can be used for great things, but I feel that people.
I think the cons outweigh the pros.
There's a dark side to it.
The cons outweigh the pros. They're having dire consequences. People are not having sex anymore, which leads to the birth rate going all the way down. Social media also contributes to cyberbullying, which leads to suicides going up.
But it's not just social media. I mean, social media also contributes to the stress, and stress was another reason why they were saying that people weren't having sex, because stress is, a major killer of libido. You know what I'm saying? Anxiety, depression, If I'm stressed out, I'm not thinking about having sex. I'm stressed out about work, and there's so much things to be stressed out about nowadays. Stressed out about finding a job. If you got a job, you're stressed out about your job. You're not thinking about being intimate with anybody. If you got kids, you're stressed out about your kids. You're stressed out about your relationship sometimes, and where it's going, where it's headed. You're stressed out about making car payments. You're stressed out about if you're gonna buy a home. If you have a home, how are you gonna keep making those mortgage payments? There's a million things to stress you out. Right?
I think it's because the quality of life has deteriorated.
Definitely,
the quality of life has gone down tremendously. The generations past, they had a better quality of life, so they had the time to sit there, but to be intimate with one another. And plus, they didn't have all these things going on. They didn't have social media. They didn't have anything to scroll and look through. You had the TV, you had the newspaper, but how long you gonna watch the TV and look at the newspaper and read the same shit over and over again, when you have access to millions of topics and millions of things through the internet and through your phone. They didn't have that back then. Quality of life was better back then, so they had more sex.
Yeah, they were saying
today we have all these things that takes our attention. We have to worry about surviving. You see, like, how are they going to do that? How are we going to do that? We have too much things to worry about.
They were saying that in the 1990s, I believe they had a crazy statistic.
I think 60-something% of people were having sex at least once a week.
Yeah,
I think that's like the statistic.
63%. No, here it goes. It says single and married people are having sex. And married adults aged 16 to 64 only have 46%. I mean, only 46% of those people have sex weekly, as opposed to 59% of adults from 1990 to 2008.
Yeah.
So that's a 13% decline in terms of people just having weekly sex, married and single people, right? But the strange thing is that married couples are seeing a reduction in sex as well. And typically, you think when you have a partner, you're gonna have sex you can have sex way more, right? You just roll over in bed like you wanna, and then
it happens.
You do the thing, but it's not like that, and it's because of a lot of these factors too. Because just because you're married doesn't mean you put the phone down. Just because you're married doesn't mean you don't have any stress. Married couples looking at this will know there's a lot of stresses that still exist within your marriage that will keep you from being in the mood, right? So,
and single people could relate to that as well, because single people also have issues, and our phones are what's distracting us as well. But
they said, ultimately they were saying that the sexless this sexless society that we're in right now is basically a byproduct of the overarching problem, which is loneliness. And they were basically saying that I think the World Health Organization has now classified loneliness as a global health risk, a global health crisis. Basically, people are going out less. Mm-hmm. They're socializing less. So you're not having sex. People are at home just on their phones, no real human connection. You're talking to your friend on the phone, but it's not the same as talking to somebody in real life. It's not the same as going to a bar and having a drink and really socializing and getting down to things.
People are talking to their chatbots, and they are, for real.
Well, and that's what they remember a couple episodes ago, and they were saying about how percentage of people in society right now can see themselves opening up and having an intimate relationship with an AI chatbot. And
I wonder why.
Because they're not craving that human connection.
But what turned them into not craving that though? What is the reason?
Well, we just said a plethora of reasons. Basically, the stress induced by social media and all the fake body standards that's put on.
But if you have that one human you could talk to, it's better than a chatbot. No,
the dating apps and you might be surprised. I mean, like I said, they say you go on these dating apps and half the people you meet are weirdos.
It's crazy because when you go on dating apps, a lot of them, they just want to hook up and then that's it. But it looks like people are going on dating apps to look for love, and then all of a sudden they just ghost the person for God knows what reason.
Right. And that ghosting,
like they're not even finding each other a hookup anymore. They're just ghosting people.
Right. And that ghosting just leads to mistrust. How many times are you going to get ghosted, or how many times are you going to let some dude?
And that's when people are like, they be like, oh, I'm never dating again because all of them are the same and blah, 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 blah. And that's going to turn you off. Like you might like them, but just the mere thought of them eventually ghosting you turns you off.
People are getting it wrong though. Predominantly through history, predominantly where you find love, where you find lasting relationships, especially as an adult, would be at work or in college.
School, yeah. Most of the people you become friends with come from school and college. Mm-hmm. I mean, school and work.
Right, because those are the people that you're around.
You
with
see all the time, right? Yeah.
But now there's this disconnect. People are not socializing. People are treating work as work, and they leave work where it's at. Not only the work that they do, but the people at work, right? So I think society just needs a hard reset, right? And I think what Australia is doing with the social media ban for 16 and unders needs to be implemented here. But I would say 18 and under. Let these kids go out, enjoy life, touch grass, freaking swim in the ocean.
It'll be better for them.
Take an adventure, go road tripping or whatever, and see what they're missing, because they don't know what they're missing. They think the life they're living right now is great. But I'm like, man, there's so much.
All these teens want to be social media stars.
Yeah, everybody wants to have a podcast. Everybody wants to be a game streamer.
Everybody wants to be a TikTok celebrity.
Yeah. And nobody wants to, go out into the real world.
Yeah, because once you're 18 and you actually touch a phone, it's like, okay, I have this phone, but
yeah, like I want to go outside.
Like my life without the phone.
Yeah.
People had more fun without the phone. Mm-hmm. The only reason why I like the cell phone is because you could keep in contact with people. Like if I need to call you, it doesn't matter where you're at, I'm gonna be able to reach you. Mm-hmm. That's what you didn't have when you didn't have a cell phone. Like you would have to wait. You got to look for a payphone. You got to wait till the person comes back. Like, I don't know. I feel like anxiety must have been real high before the invention of the cell phone. Like you're calling the person's home
because that's
and you can't reach them.
No, because that was the normal state of affairs.
If you put me back in those times, knowing what I know now, I would have high anxiety.
Yeah, knowing what you know now, but you didn't know no better back then. So
I don't know how we did it back then.
It was just the way it was. At one point, there was no phones, right? You know what I'm saying? So people existed without phones. They existed without computers. They existed without cars, and they made their way. So
But back to the topic of people having less sex, they are also burnt out. They're burnt out from life. They're burnt out from life. They're burnt out from their job. They're burnt out from their personal issues. And people are not going to think about anything to do with sex because they're just burnt. Like they come home after a long day doing God knows what. They're going straight to bed. They're not even thinking about that. Even if they have a partner, they're like, I got to go to bed. I got to reset and I got to get ready for the next day.
Yeah. It's just too much going on, especially if you're married, you got kids and everything. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a heavy mental load, and nobody's gonna.
Even if you really like your partner,
nobody's gonna be in the mood for sex when you have
too much going on,
stress going on. You're just not. Your mind is just not gonna go to that space.
Mm-hmm. And it's sad. I mean, you're seeing the repercussions from it. What you said, the primary reason why it's trickling down is because of loneliness. Mm-hmm. And then, people are not having sex, people are not having kids. The world population is probably going to decrease because women are not having kids. Mm-hmm.
And the thing is too, like a lot of adults now are choosing celibacy.
Yeah.
So they said 18% of women are choosing celibacy and 15% of men.
Yeah.
Right. So you're just choosing not to engage in.
What's going to go down though with all this sexless stuff going on? The spread of diseases. STDs and HIV and AIDS.
The spread of sexually transmitted
diseases. Mm-hmm. That's going to go down. So that could be a plus because a lot of people are not interacting or having a lot of intercourse with each other. So the rates of STDs and HIV and AIDS probably is going to go down.
Well, that could be another reason too as to why people are
scared. They don't want to.
There's just so much information on your phone, so much statistics at your fingertips about STDs and how fast they're spreading. I remember what was it a couple years ago at Coachella where they were spreading. There was like a spread of herpes or something like that. Right.
There was this like fungal type of herpes that could be transmitted without having sex. I think I think if you kiss somebody and it's like a fungus and you don't have to have sex in order to get it. That's scary. That would turn me off as well. Like I don't want to touch anybody.
You shouldn't be out there kissing any and everybody.
But people.
So that's the thing. It's like
certain people are wild.
It's too much. It's too much out there, and it's too much on your phone. Too much information overload, and it makes people scared. I think ever since COVID kind of got people.
And you think COVID would be the one?
Don't want to be up under strangers too much.
And you would think COVID would bring people together, but it actually made people separate.
You sneeze now. Everybody looking at you crazy. They're like, what's wrong with this dude? You know what I'm saying?
I wonder how much babies were born during COVID. Where's there a spike in births?
Probably a spike in breakups.
Like, do I have to live with you all the time? Oh my God.
It's like I used to be able to get away from you for 8 hours a day.
See, this is why I say, see your partner 5 days out the week. A recent study of fertility trends in the U.S. from 2015 through 2021 reveals that there was actually a baby bump.
But I wouldn't be surprised if it went down because, people weren't meeting each other at the same race that they were pre-pandemic. You were inside. You were trying to protect yourself.
Yeah.
Everywhere you went, you had to be 6 feet apart. When they started letting people back into establishments, you had to be 6 feet apart and all that stuff. There was constant reminders that, there's this freaking virus out there. Ain't nobody was worried about having, meeting new people and having sex. You were worried about staying alive.
Yeah.
And not freaking bringing shit home to your family or your kids or your grandparents.
That death rate every day, like 700 people per day. You didn't want to be a part of that 700.
Exactly.
But this kind of ties into the next topic that you have brought up. So we're going to get into. People in marriages or long-term relationships are having less meaningful conversations. The max amount of time they have speaking about relatively good topics is 15 minutes per day. Something that's outside.
You mean outside of the day?
Yeah, outside of the norm. Like, did you pick up the kids, or what do you want for dinner, or things of that nature. So, I'm not in a long-term relationship. I'm not married. So the type of conversations I have with my friends relatively go past 15 minutes. But for married folks and people in long-term relationships, I'm kind of surprised, like, based off this statistic, that's the norm. 15 minutes is nothing.
Yeah, that's crazy for a whole week. But it's believable because I'm married. Me and my wife have been married 7 years, and just when I saw that, I was thinking to myself, I was like, is this true? At least in my life. And you can see it. You wake up in the morning, I get up early, like around 4:30, 4:40 in the morning, go to the gym, come home, got to get ready. And as soon as I get home, I go wake up my son, get him in the shower. While he's in the shower, I'm brushing my teeth or whatever. Then I'm hopping in the shower. I'm hustling, bustling him to get him ready to get him to school. My wife gets up. She goes straight downstairs to the kitchen to get lunches ready and everything like that before she comes upstairs to get herself ready. We passing each other by. My kiss her good morning, say good morning and all that stuff. Then we get the kids in. We pack the kids up, get them in the car because then Mackenzie has to get up, pack the kids up, take them in the car, take them to school, take her to work, take her to daycare. I shoot off to work. Get to work. We might text during the course of the day, just see how each other is doing, where each other is at, And then all of a sudden, you go get out of work, go pick up the kids, go home. By the time you get home from picking up the kids and everything, it's like 6:30. Kids got to be in bed by 8, so you getting them showered, checking homework, you getting them prepared for bed, you reading them their stories, you tucking them in. Now it's freaking 8:30, and we might have, and I go to bed by 9 because I need to get up at 4:40 to hit the gym, right? Because I can't work out in the evenings, because if I work out in the evenings, I can't be there to pitch in and help out and do the homework and all that other stuff. So it's just so much. So in that 30-minute window, am I even in the mood to speak, or do I just want to let's just relax and watch our favorite TV show?
I think that's the time you would talk.
Right. Sometimes you don't feel like talking. Sometimes you're just so tired, you don't even want to talk. You're like, babe, let's just watch some TV. You drink some wine or something like that, and you just relax. Not thinking that, we ain't really talk about nothing circumstantial, all week, So it's very real. It's just so much going on. And if you don't make a cognizant effort to speak to your significant other, you will just be passing each other by every day.
And women go off they are attracted to intellectual conversations because it also brings that emotional stability within the relationship. So it's pivotal for especially the woman in a relationship to have at least 15 minutes a day just straight talking to your partner of things outside of the norm. in the daily routine. If I was in a relationship, it has like texting. We could even text. We don't have to actually physically use our mouths to talk. We could just, have conversations via text message just to, check the temperature, check the pulse, within the relationship. I think that's pivotal. If I was in a relationship, it has no, we're not going to talk about drop-offs. We're not going to talk about XYZ. Let's talk about something else. Let's talk about current affairs. Let's talk about what happened at work today. Let's talk about things of that nature. So the fact that 15 minutes, is it per week or per day?
They said per week.
Per week.
So
15 minutes
in
per
an entire
week.
week.
What's that? Like 3.5 minutes a day?
No, that's not 3.3.
Or
if you
3 minutes per day? 3 times 5 is 15.
Right. But there's 7 days in a week.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. I'm thinking about a 5-day week.
Yeah,
work week, because I work too much.
It's a ridiculous number when you think about it. I never thought about it until they brought that up. I'm like, that's really.
But I'm like, who they talk to? Because I highly doubt people in long-term relationships or marriage only speak to each other like for 2 minutes a day outside of the norm.
It depends because you know how
who
they say.
Talk to?
You know how they say like you talk to your friends.
Because I'm pretty sure you and your man, you don't talk about daily routines all the time.
No, we talk to people at work. I mean, but you can get caught up in that. I can see that. Like sometimes, like me and my wife, we used to date a lot. Mm-hmm. Like so, even up until like I think 2023, we were dating a lot, and then she had our daughter, and then it just got more hectic. But even in 2024, we were dating, but 2025. It was not so much dating, and that's when you really kind of get an opportunity to kind of like catch up with each other and stuff. When you go out, you date, you go to dinner, you have conversations, and you talk about the work week and stuff like that. And then I used to do this thing called Sunday Talks, which I want to re-implement. And Sunday Talks, it was like anything crazy happened in the week between us, any issues that came up that we never discussed, anything like that, we could discuss it there. And if there's no issues, then you could just bring up something that maybe you wanted to talk about.
A fun topic.
Right, but you never, you didn't get an opportunity to talk about it. But, it's been a while. It's been a while. I feel like I need to reinstitute that just so we could, touch base with each other. Mm-hmm. Because you could really get lost in the routine of things. Mm-hmm. And you're not really thinking you're doing anything wrong because as a husband and a parent, you feel like you're doing everything you're supposed to be doing. Mm-hmm. You're taking care of the house, you're taking care of the kids. You just trying to check everything on the list. And so you got to make sure that what's priority on that list is talking with
communication
your spouse.
is always the number one thing in a relationship. It's always communication. If you can't communicate, then what's the point? Mm-hmm. I'm big on communication. If I can't communicate with you on a level that I deem satisfactory, then what's the point? Yeah. If I don't hear from you, if I don't talk, I'm like, no. There has to be some type of communication. Mm-hmm. That's what keeps everything together. Mm-hmm. So hopefully this minutes per week goes up. I don't know because it looks like everything is going down when it comes to society as a whole. So I don't know what people are going to do. Maybe they should implement what you are going to try to re-implement in your marriage.
I mean, you could try. You try anything, but I don't think this is like a new issue. I feel like back in the day when men were the breadwinners and women stayed home and took care of the house. I don't think they were having that much conversation either. Because
there's never anything. There's always something to talk about. You can't run out of stuff to talk about. Mm-hmm.
You just have to make the effort. With anything, there's effort that needs to be put
in. If you guys live separate lives, there's always something to talk about. Mm-hmm. Always.
But I just don't feel like this is a issue that's specific to the 21st century. It's not specific to 2025. I feel like it goes back generations.
Or maybe this is just something that's never going to change.
No, I don't think that every single marriage that is the case. But I'm just saying this issue is an issue that has come up time and time again in throughout the decades. I don't think that it's specific to millennials. I
actually never heard of this until you sent this.
Right, but because nobody really talks about it. I didn't really think about it until I saw it. But then when you see it and you think about it. And you can see, I can see in my own life how it's realistic how that can happen.
I don't know, because
Right.
what I see, my parents, they talk about politics. That's what they really are into. More so my dad. My mom just goes back and forth with him just to keep the conversation going. But they talk about stuff. They talk about work. Well, my mom talks about work. She talks about work to him. He still keeps in contact with his old coworkers. So whatever happens in their little circle, she find, like, I don't know, maybe because I've seen them talk for more than 15 minutes.
But that's what you've seen.
Yeah, that's what. And so I didn't think
So-
this was a big problem because of what I saw.
And I can say I didn't see that. So, and I didn't see that growing up. So, like, that's what I'm saying. I don't think it's our generation thing. I think this has been going on. It's something that has existed.
Do you think it's in a majority of households? Or like,
I don't think
because it's
it's
not, you don't even have to be married to be
I don't think it's
like
in a-
this.
I
You
don't
could be in
think-
a long-term relationship and it's still like that.
Yeah.
So do you think that?
I don't know if it's the majority, but I think
Yeah.
it's a larger minority, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
But because people don't think about it, and if you're in a relationship where you don't speak up as a man or a woman to say, like, we need to talk more because we're just not talking, right? Then it can go on for a long time with nobody really feeling that like they're doing something wrong. So yeah, that's what I think about that.
So we're going to go abroad for this topic. So 63% of Gen Zers want to live abroad. They feel like this country is not suited for them. Cost of living is high. So the statistics show that most people want to leave are people of color and within the LGBT community. They want to leave and go abroad. And 52% of millennials of that same group feel the same way as well.
Yeah, so it doesn't surprise me that Gen Z wants to leave because, the outlook looks grim. They're basically saying that they want to leave for, like you said, for job scarcity issues.
The cost of living.
Cost of living issues, and political issues, especially for the LGBT, Black community and Hispanic community. They want to leave a lot. They want to leave primarily because of those issues, but one of the main issues is the political climate. They feel like the administration is empowering these type of racist individuals to say and do what they want to do. And also with the whole immigration situation in this country, people just don't feel safe. They're trying to crack down on naturalized citizens and all that stuff. So when you think about it as a person of color, you're thinking like, what's next?
Yeah.
So you just don't feel like the government is working for you.
No.
Right.
They're trying to get you out.
Right. And then on top of that, there's barriers in getting a home because the prices of homes are astronomical, and then there's not enough homes to meet the demand. Same thing with the jobs. There's not enough jobs to meet the demand, and the jobs that you do go and try to apply for, it's like a cattle call. Like they call like hundreds of people to come and apply for this one job. You're competing with not only your fellow Gen Zers but also millennials as well. It's just really hard out
with
there.
A lot of generations,
Right.
Not just millennials.
Right. And if you can't buy a home, you still can't afford rent. And the rent is out of control.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of factors that just scream, let's get out of here. And people are starting to think, yeah, I want the American dream, but can I achieve the dream somewhere else? And you can, and it's easier for an adult Gen Z individual who's in their 20s to pick up and leave because
What do they have to lose?
Yeah, especially if you didn't build any roots here in terms of like having children and stuff like that. It's easier for you to pick up and go. It's harder for millennials to like get up and go now because they have kids and all that stuff.
There's this one guy, I think he had a family. He moved to Thailand and he is thriving. He pays like $200 a month for rent. He works for an American company, but he lives remote. He lives in Thailand. So he's still getting paid in American dollars and he's thriving over there. You see examples like that makes you want to go and live abroad because he's making it out there. I can make it out there if I get a job that's remote. I could live anywhere in the world that I want to and still get paid in US dollars. And the cost of living is something that I could afford and live comfortably. Hell, shit, I would do it if I didn't have my roots here. And if my job was remote, I'm out. So you see examples like that, it just makes you wonder because everybody just wants to live a good quality of life. People don't want to struggle because struggle leads to, it's like it's like on the top struggle and then all of a sudden everything it just falls down. Nobody wants to live like that. Struggle is the first thing that happens and everything else in your life is going to deteriorate. So if you could get the struggle out the way, you'll be thriving.
And there's nowhere you can go.
And in America, a lot of people are struggling. Are struggling. And there's nothing that they can do about it because these are the circumstances that they're dealt with. This is the cards that they're being dealt. So.
Yeah, and there's nowhere to go in this country where you won't struggle. It seems like cost of living is going up everywhere.
Yeah, even if you move to like a smaller city and then there's an influx of people that move to that same city, cost of living is going to get higher.
But the cost of living is going up everywhere. Thing is, and then you also have to take into account that the median salary in one state is not going to be the median salary in another. So you could be doing the same job,
but getting paid less.
In New York, you could do the same job that you were doing in New York and Kentucky, but get paid like $30,000-$40,000 less. You know, and then you'll still be struggling. So, you know, there's nowhere to go in America where you can feel like 100% comfortable with the money that you're making, right? So, you know, Gen Z, especially
only a small percentage of people can do that.
Yeah,
but the vast majority they can't.
Yeah, Gen Z just, you know, their generation of they're not taking this shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're like something's got to change, or I'm gonna change my life situation.
And they like remote work because they're the same ones that like to be in solitude. They don't like to mingle with others. So they find remote jobs. They get a remote job. They're out. They could be chilling on an island, and you can't even blame blame them.
I had a cousin who was living in Mexico, and she was just working. She was working remotely from Mexico.
See,
you know,
there's this one person I knew was working remote from the Philippines. So
you can't knock it.
You cannot knock it. I mean, if it works for them, it works for them.
And I always said it too. Like I was like, if I ain't have no damn kids, I'd probably be up out of here too, because it just don't make any sense. It's like
and all the immigrants that came here for a better life, they're gonna work hard, but guess what? When they retire, they're going right back to where they came from, because all that money they saved up it's like they're going back a millionaire. They're building their house where they came from. And once they hit that age where they don't have to worry about working anymore, they're going right back to where they came from. They only fly back just for the benefits, the medical benefits,
you got
and health care.
A lot of immigrants buy land from where they're from with their money that they make here, and they build homes.
Unless they're really thriving in America. Not saying that they're not thriving, but unless they're really, really, really comfortable living in the States, maybe they'll stay. But if they really want to go back home and say the quality of life is 10 times better from where I'm from, they're going back. They're going back, and you cannot blame them. America is cracked up to be the hottest nation in the world, according to Donald Trump. But it's really it's not.
Well, it's the hottest nation for him because he's in the.
It's not.
He's in the catbird seat. He's in the 1%.
People think about the American dream. It's not the American dream anymore. The American dream is just to make sure you have a roof over your head, and that's it. Ain't no white picket fences. Ain't no a family with a dog. Like, that dream has been shot for a long time now.
Like we said, people are having less sex. Part of that is probably due to, you don't want to have kids.
Yeah.
Because kids is just another expense. America has just put up barriers to everything that
specifically
seem
for black women. Specifically for black women, the mortality rate is not the highest.
It's not the best.
It's not the highest, because mortality meaning like
their mortality rate is the highest in terms of like giving birth. They
die.
Yeah, their mortality rate isn't the best.
Yeah, that's what I said.
You said isn't the highest, so that means that they have a great mortality rate.
Oh, my bad. It's so late. So wait. So specifically for Black women, their mortality rate is not the best.
When it comes to giving birth.
Yeah.
Right?
So that's another reason why, if I could say for Black women, why they choose not to have children. Because they don't want to die on the operating table. They don't want to die giving birth.
I really don't think that that's like the main reason why Black women don't have children. I think because you don't really hear a lot of women really like verbalizing that. But I feel like what it is
but they're cognizant of it.
I feel like people don't want to have the children because they still want their freedom and mobility, and they want the financial security that they want to maintain the financial security that they built. Once you have children, everything is turned upside down.
There's a few people that I've spoken to, and they see the stories of women, Black women that die giving birth, and they use that as a factor why they're scared to have children.
Yeah, I haven't seen it like verbalized like that, but yeah.
So I'm not saying some. I'm not saying all. I'm saying some.
But that is a real statistic. Black women in the healthcare system, they're not done right when it comes to labor. You know, when it comes to giving birth.
And that's another thing. Who knows? Maybe Gen Z see that the Black women within Gen Z, and they're like, I don't know about that.
But you know what? I think. Do you? This part of you think that this was like this administration's plan all along? Because it seems that before Trump took power, right before he became president again, there was a lot of statistics stating that this country was going to be majority minority in a few years, right? And whites would be in the minority. I think in the year 2050,
they were saying that the minority will be them and we will be the majority.
Right. So do you feel, because what we were talking about with Gen Z leaving, right?
And most of them
most of the Gen Z population that are interested in leaving are people of color and the LGBT community, right? And those are the communities that
they target.
Right? Mm-hmm. Do you think that? So now
I don't want to say that because I don't want to. Oh, she thinks we're trying to get rid of all of them.
I mean, it's possible. I mean, it's food for thought because you're trying to get rid of all these people and you're not even getting rid of them in the appropriate manner. You're not going through the appropriate channels. You're kidnapping people basically, and you're sending them to places abroad that they ain't even come from. You just in such a hurry to just get rid of them. You know what I'm saying? And then you have this situation where the cost of living has become so untenable for specific groups of people. I mean, everybody's feeling the pinch, right? Whites included. Mm-hmm. But statistics show that Blacks, Hispanics, and the LGBTQ community are feeling the pinch to the point where they're more than willing to seek opportunities elsewhere. And this country is more than willing to open the door and let them right out. And my thing is, you go out, I don't know if you're coming back in.
Well, if they're American citizens, they're coming right back.
By the time you come, they might change that.
If you're an American citizen, if you're born here, that's different. You coming back, and they can't tell you not to come back because you have papers stating that you are an American citizen.
There's a lot of
you're gonna come back.
There's a lot of things happening that people said was impossible to happen that are happening.
So you're saying that they're gonna stop American-born citizens from coming back?
I said that it's a possibility. I don't know.
I heard they try to stop naturalized citizens.
Right. So where does it end? You ever heard?
They cannot touch people that is born and raised in America. They can't touch them.
You ever heard of a domino effect? Right.
I get it, but I don't see that happening. That's just straight up blasphemous.
You ever heard of a slippery slope? This is why people fight so hard for the little things, because they know that little things can become big things. A snowball rolling down a hill, when it initially rolls down the hill, can be
I get what you're saying,
be about this big, fit in my hand.
Realistically,
by the time
I
it gets
can't
down
see
the hill,
that.
it could be as big
So
as a
you
house.
telling me if I leave and I go to like England or something like that, and then 20 years later I want to come back, they tell me I can't come back?
I don't know what this country looks like in 20 years. And neither do you.
If that was the case, that would have probably been implemented a long time ago.
No, because Trump wasn't president a long time ago. You have to understand, you have to pay attention to what's happening.
I get what you're saying, but I just can't see it. There's no way that can happen.
To think that's impossible.
There is no way that can happen.
To think that's impossible is just a lack of
imagination. So that means
imagination.
nobody could come back in here. So they're going to pick and choose who comes back into the country?
To think that that's not possible, that's not a possibility, is a lack of imagination on your part. And he's banking on your lack of imagination and the lack of imagination of other Americans, the vast majority of Americans.
Well, I guess I'm lacking in imagination because I can't see that happening.
He's sitting here and doing things that we thought was impossible, and he's doing it. The man renamed the Kennedy Center the Trump Kennedy Center. The man demolished the White House. The man restructured.
I could see, he's doing all that stuff, but to touch people that are born and bred American as citizens,
he's kidnapping people for no reason and sending them to points abroad where they don't belong.
If I have papers showing that I'm an American, there's checks and balances too. He can't just do that on his own.
There's checks and balances, are there? Because some of the decisions that he's been making, some of the stuff that he's been implementing are deemed illegal by judges.
By saying that American citizen can't come back to their country to live, even though they've been abroad for X amount of years. Mm-hmm. No, they can't do that.
Okay. If that's what you want to stand on, but don't be surprised. All I'm saying is don't be surprised. I'm not saying that they're trying to do it. What I'm saying is I have an imagination to be able to fathom that being a possibility. And if you can't fathom that as a possibility, then you will never be able to prevent it from happening.
If that's the case, this country ain't gonna have nobody.
No, it's gonna have the people that they want to have,
which is gonna be the population is gonna be very low. If that's the case,
they're gonna have the people that they want to have.
The population is gonna be very low, and then it's gonna cause a problem.
It's not what
They're gonna have the population that they want to have.
Yeah.
But who's gonna work the jobs that these people would want? They don't want to work these type of jobs.
Well, we talk about AI all the time. AI will do those jobs.
Please.
AI will do those jobs.
Please. No.
You just don't want you don't want to think
it's gonna.
You don't want to.
Same way you said it's gonna cause a domino effect. It's gonna cause a domino effect on the government. It's not gonna be good if you pick and choose people who you want to live in this country. The ecosystem is gonna fail. Well, it's gonna fail.
I can't.
So you cannot pick and choose who you want to live in your country.
They're picking and choosing already.
You can't. I can't. If you're an American citizen, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Already. You're a citizen. You're allowed to come back.
They're picking and choosing already. They're kicking. They're sending.
And the system's gonna fail if that's the case.
If you and I are immigrants, we come here, we have a kid, and they deport us. That kid is a U.S. citizen. They sending the kid back with us.
But the kid could also come back because they're a citizen.
If you say so, if you think.
I've seen it.
Okay, if you think so.
The child, even though the parents are immigrants, of course they're going to send the child back. But when the child becomes of age and can come back into the country, that child's coming back into the country as a citizen.
Don't worry. Just keep paying attention to what's happening.
I'm seeing what's happening.
Okay, so
I'm not negligent to that.
If you're seeing what's happening,
but I just don't think they're gonna touch people who are actually born and raised in this country. If that's the case, then
if you say so,
might as well I stay my ass in England or wherever I choose to go to.
But that's what I'm saying. That's why people.
But I can't see that happening because if they're gonna pick and choose people who's gonna come and live in their country, well, what's the point?
But that's why. What you mean? How
is the system gonna function?
No, but you're looking at it from your. You have to stop looking at it from your perspective and start looking at it holistically, right?
That's crazy.
It's not about you and what you want to happen or what you think should happen. You have to be realistic because the people in power right now.
So you really think that's going to happen one day?
I don't think that that's going to happen. I said that it could happen. And you're so averse. Realistically, it can happen.
I don't know about that.
Okay, if you say so. Just like the Ukraine was its own country.
That's something you just
like the Ukraine was its own country and Russia came in there and now the Ukraine
is still its own country.
Okay, but
it's just in war.
Okay, so this whole table is Ukraine. Russia comes in and takes over a quarter of the Ukraine.
But that's not Russia. It's still Ukraine.
They're doing peace treaty talks right now. Russia is not giving up the land that they have. With the peace treaty, if they sign a peace treaty, I guarantee you, Russia is going to keep what they have under their control. They are not giving that back up.
That happens over there. In America,
happens over there.
In America,
but America's involved in that decision. We're the ones creating the treaty. I'm talking about
the stuff that happens in America. I don't think anything like that's going to happen here.
Well, I hope you're right, but I can see in America where that happens. Is what I'm saying. I can envision that. I'm not saying that it will happen, but I can envision that. And you have to be able to envision things in order to stop things. You have to be able to have vision to create. You have to have vision to prevent.
And this is,
if you sit there and you just wait for things to happen to you, they will happen to you.
If that's the case, I see why certain people don't care to get a U.S. passport. Because what's the point of getting it if you can't come back in here?
A lot of people.
It makes no sense.
A lot of people.
I might as well just revoke and not get my U.S. passport renewed.
A lot of people in the world.
I might as well go to another country and get another passport since I can't come back in here.
A lot of people in the world don't care. Don't really care much for America. You know. So.
And the way it's going, and they want to pick and if that ever comes into fruition, and they want to pick and choose whoever is living here, they're not going to be a first world power anymore. They're not. Who's going to be here? They're not going to be a first world power. They're not going to be one of the top nations. They're not. China's going to overtake everything if that's the case. If that's their mindset, China's going to come and just bum rush everyone. This is the U.S. right now, and this is China. U.S. does some shit like that, China's gonna overleap them. I don't see where that's gonna happen. But okay, shout out to my Knicks. They're doing good so far.
They won the NBA Cup. Whoop-de-freaking-do.
Whoop-de-doo. They did a good job. That was another episode of Random Conversations. I'm Danielle.
And I'm Noel.
And we'll see you next week. You can
like, subscribe, comment, follow us on the YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. If you like what you see, let us know. Drop a like, leave a comment. If you want us to cover any topics, put it in the comments, and we'll try to cover it.
Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.